Okay, now we're going to go on to the last problem of this notes to wrap this thing up. We have write this function as a product of linear factors and list all the zeros, so we have to factor it all out. Now the only problem with this one and the one we've done before, it doesn't tell us anywhere that we want to start. There's no factors to start with like we've had before. So the easiest thing to do is to get your handy dandy calculator, and I have that just right here for you. Zip that up here. So let's go to y equals and type in our equation, x to the fifth plus, whoops, where did x go? Sorry about that. Let's try that again. X to the fifth plus x cubed plus 2x squared minus 12x plus 8. Sorry, it's taking me longer than it probably would you on your calculator there. But if we go to the graph of this equation now, we can kind of see it's going to cross, looks like here and possibly there. So let's go to our table of values and figure out where a 0 is. Looks like a -2. Okay, I know from right there it says a -2, 0 is, so x equals -2 is a 0, and also, scoot that over there, and also at 1 is a 0, so x equals 1 is a 0. So let me scoot my calculator off there, out of the way, and let's get to our factors now. So if this is a 0, we know that x plus 2 is a factor, and also x minus 1 is a factor of what we have so far there. So knowing that much, we can start our synthetic division, and let's divide, let's go ahead and use the -2 into there. So we start with the fifth power, there's no fourth power, the cubed, the squared, the x, and then the number. So since we know that is a factor, we know that it has to come out to be 0 as our remainder. So drop it. Hopefully you remember how to do this. Drop it, multiply and add, multiply and add, multiply and add, multiply and add, multiply and add. So we know that is a 0 of that function. And we also know, because right now that would be the x plus 2 factor. Okay. So let's take what we have left there, the 1, -2, 5, -8, and 4, and let's go ahead and divide that into by the x minus 1 factor, or just the 1 out in front. So again, drop it down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply and add, and multiply and add. So there, right there, we just showed that those two are the factors, and this is the x minus 1 factor, since they're both remainders are 0. So if I was to write this out so far, I would have this. This was to the fifth power, so this was to the fourth. So this was started out as the fourth power, so this is going to be the cubed. So we have x cubed minus x squared plus 4x minus 4. Now, that's still a little bit messy there. But if you remember how to factor by grouping, we can group these guys together when there's some terms like that. So I'm going to rewrite this first part. The common factor between these guys is x squared, and we would have left x minus 1. And the common factor between those two guys is 4, and we have left x minus 1. So from that point, we can factor out the x minus 1 factor. Still have these two guys in front. Can't forget about those. But we have that x minus 1 factor between those two, and then we have the x squared plus 4 factor that was left over. Okay? So it says list as a product of linear factors. That is about as far as we can take that right there, because we can't factor x squared plus 4 out any further. Okay, And then we said each factor equal to 0. So x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0. We don't really need to do both of those. And x squared plus 4 equals 0. So we have x equals a negative 2, x equals 1, and from here we have x squared equals a negative 4. So x, you take the square root of both sides. So we have plus or minus, not I, but I'm sorry, plus or minus 2i. Forgot the 2 there. So if I want to list them out as just one big list, we could do it like that, and then list all your zeros. So this lists all the factors as far as we can factor it out, and then that gives you your zeros. And that will wrap it up for section 2.5.